Hi, this is Dave Nicosia, Warning Coordination Meteorologist with National Weather Service in Binghamton, New York, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about where's winter. So far, this November has been extremely mild in New York and Pennsylvania, with many areas averaging anywhere from 5 to as much as 7 degrees above normal. And if you look at the map, you can see that the warmth is even more significant in the upper Midwest, where temperatures have averaged 5 to 6 degrees Celsius above normal, which translates to about 9 to 10 Fahrenheit above normal. So an exceptionally warm month so far. The only area where it's been a little bit below normal has been in the West, where they actually have seen some winter-like weather. So it's been so warm this November that some all-time monthly records could fall. In Binghamton, New York, the highest November winter temperature ever recorded was 44.6, set in 1975. Well, this November, so far, the first 24 days, we've averaged 45.1, so we're actually half a degree higher than the previous record. In Scranton, the temperature was 49 degrees as the record in 1931, and this November we've also averaged right at that record. Syracuse this November has seen temperatures near 47 degrees as an average. The record actually is 48.7, but there were other recent very warm months in 2001 and 2011 that are very close. So certainly an exceptionally mild month for our area. And boy, what a difference a year makes, huh? This is a photograph from one of our employees from his yard, looking at his deck. A year ago on this very date, you can see we were dealing with some significant winter weather with our first major winter storm and very, very cold temperatures. But you look at the picture this afternoon or from earlier today, you'll see a beautiful, not much going on there. Just a nice Thanksgiving afternoon. So why so mild? Well, if we look at the jet stream pattern, you'll notice that there's a strong jet stream of west winds blowing into the Gulf of Alaska, and these winds are cutting right across Canada from west to east across Canada. There's a subtropical jet stream that is set up from down near Texas and northern part of Mexico, and that has been blowing towards the northeast from the southwest up the Appalachians into the eastern United States. And this subtropical jet stream really is the reason why it's been so mild in a large part of the eastern and northern United States. If we go back a year ago, when we had the snow, the jet stream was totally different. We were seeing the flow coming out of Canada from north of Alaska down through Canada and bringing us one Arctic air mass after another. And it combined with some moisture, and voila, we had a snowstorm. So what's happening? This year, we have an El Nino in the Pacific Ocean. An El Nino is a warming of the waters in the equator regions of the Pacific Ocean, and that leads to more Pacific storm activity, and it often tends to weaken the polar jet stream, which you can see here in purple. And with this polar jet stream staying north of us, we often don't get into the polar air masses. We tend to see these milder Pacific air masses, and that's indeed what we've been seeing at least through this November. And here's the El Nino. You can see the abnormally warm waters in the central equatorial Pacific. So this El Nino is expected to last right in through the winter season. So we can expect to see more Pacific storms. The question is, will the polar jet stream get strong enough to start delivering polar and Arctic air down into our area, especially as the fall transitions into winter? So the winter-like weather really has been out west. And when we look at, this is the atmospheric pressure around 20,000 feet up. And where the pressure is low, the temperatures are cold. And you'll notice that there's cold air that's locked in up very close to the pole and over Alaska and northern Canada, Greenland, and over the Arctic Ocean, and of course in Siberia. And this is a loop of a model projection out for the next 10 days that carries us all the way until the 6th of December. And you'll notice that the storms are coming off the Pacific Ocean. We have no flow coming down into the Northeast United States or the upper Midwest at all for the next 10 days. So that suggests that it's going to just continue to remain fairly mild and not very winter-like at all, which generally speaking, by this time of year, we start seeing winter-like patterns. And this is the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, and the reds and maroon is indicative of where we expect it to be above normal in temperature or milder than normal, and it fits very well with our the flow pattern that I just showed you. And you can see right through the 10th of December, there really is no sign that any of this pattern is going to break down. So that's continuing the mild conditions. And in fact, some of this air can be so mild that it's going to be very, even if it gets colder towards the end of December, there is a pretty good chance that December could end up above normal. And here is the December temperature predictions, and indicating that a lot of New York and Pennsylvania has at least 40, if not 50% chance or more of being above normal, which is significant. So this warm spell that we've been seeing is going to last into the early part of December, possibly even to the 15th of the month, and it will take a lot of cold air to equalize the temperature. So very good chance that we're going to continue to see this mild pattern continuing into December. So again, there's no signs of any winter-like weather, at least in the next 2 weeks, possibly longer. You know, as we get towards Christmas and beyond, there will be a better shot, of course, of seeing winter-like weather. We still live up in the north, but as far as anything brutally cold or anything like that, like we saw last year, it just doesn't look like it's going to happen. So this isn't very good news for the winter outdoor enthusiasts, snowmobilers, skiers, snowboarders, at least before the middle of December and possibly later. Of course, it is very good news for those who are not too fond of winter weather. So that is all we have, and we'll continue to keep you updated as the fall turns into the winter here at the National Weather Service in Binghamton.